Hi everyone, this is Mary, you're on Mary Reads, and in this video I decided to share my January reading plans. There are going to be, I think, 6 books, and I'm hoping I'll be able to read all of those, but we'll see. So the first is Harry Potter. I'm continuing with the series, and this is the book I was able to read in December, so I was starting from the 4th book. But I wanted to talk a little bit about The Prisoner of Azkaban just because I didn't mention it in my December wrap-up. So, surprisingly, I loved the book a lot. I never thought too much about it because for me it was this like transitional book with not too much happening. So we don't have Voldemort in it, we don't have Harry's like fight with anybody, unlike the first and the second books. So it's just this kind of transitional book to introduce new characters, but I really liked it this time. I really enjoyed it. It was the book that kind of gets into showing us the maturity of the characters, their growth. They're kind of entering teenage world, and I really liked it. And it has more action, it's getting slowly more serious, and I really liked it. And the same thing I can say about book 4, The Goblet of Fire. Very interestingly, it was one of my least favorite movies, and I always thought that I just didn't like it because of the ending. I don't know if you read the series, but there might be a spoiler now for those who didn't. I was very upset when Cedric died because I thought that this was such an unfair death. That's something that shouldn't have happened. I didn't like the beginning. If you remember in the movie, it's this dark scene where Voldemort sits in this armchair and Wormtail is next to him, kind of taking care of him. And there's Nagini, and Nagini comes into the room and tells Voldemort that there is this gardener standing outside and they kill the gardener. It was a very dark and scary scene. I didn't like it, and that's why I was kind of not very happy with the movie. But I have to say that I'm reading the book, and so far it's the most exciting I've read out of the first 4. Well, and the third one. So these 2 are just eye-opening books for me. It's my very recent discovery, and I didn't notice so much. I didn't notice so many of the things. And what's more, I was kind of measuring my love towards each Harry Potter book based on the movies. And that was wrong because with the second book, I recently read the second book, and I was like, something is wrong. I loved it so much this whole time, and something is wrong now. And I realized that it was done very well in the movie. You have this very dark academia vibe, you have this mystery, you have this connection to the past, time travel, if you will, like with Harry transitioning to the past to see Tom Riddle's memory. You have this kind of detective story, who is the heir of Slytherin, and then there is this monster that's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years who's been killing students, and we need to figure out who it is. And this dark and mysterious boy who you think is good, but he's actually not good, and this making this potion in the girls' bathroom with moaning Myrtle right next to you. It's done so well in the movie, but the book is not. It's harder to see all these details with the book, and I was actually slightly disappointed with the book this time. But I do, out of the movies, the second one is still my favorite. So I'm on the book 4 now, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish all 7 of them this month. My recent discovery was audiobooks. Not that I didn't know they exist before, but I just never liked listening to them. It's very hard for me to concentrate and understand the information from like audio. So I'm probably one of those people who need to see like to visualize the text. I think it's the majority of people, but I need to visualize. So I need to see the text. Like if I'm getting ready for the exam, I need to look at the text. I need to write it down and read it again. So I really need to see it with my eyes. So audiobooks were never good for me, but I've been reading like 150 pages each day for the past 2 weeks, and I've been getting a little tired. I realized that it's going much slower. I don't even want to read that much anymore, but I have this huge series that I need to finish. So I decided to try an audiobook, and I was doing the paint by numbers thing that I got for Christmas, and I had my audiobook here, and I started listening. And surprisingly, when you don't concentrate on something that needs like too much of your attention, like coloring, it's not that you need all of your brain strength to do this exercise. And I was able to understand the book, remember the details, and also do something else that kind of made me feel like I'm relaxing and not reading. And this was a savior for me, and I think that's what I'm going to do with the rest of the books. And that's why I'm hoping I'll be able to read 6 books this month. So the first 4 is Harry Potter. And I started noticing that there are a lot of different things going on that I didn't notice before. So I really like that in the 4th book that I'm reading now, you see the maturity of the characters. You see how they start having these romantic interests, that they see these girls and they think they're pretty, and Hermione's sitting there thinking like, what do you see in them? And maybe somewhere deep inside she's like, why not me? Or why other guys don't like me? Maybe not these two, but the other guys don't like me. You see Ministry of Magic just being very stupid, and I think this might be this kind of Rowling probably wanted to represent real governments of some countries, how they are dysfunctional, how they're trying but they're not doing well. I'm thinking maybe there is this slight like political context in there, but I might be imagining it. But it's very nice to read it when you're an adult already and you know more about the world, and you can see Harry Potter not as just a tale as you saw it as a kid, but as this big 3D dimensional series. The next book I'm planning on reading is from 12 Forgotten Books. It's Paris by Edward Rutherford. I already talked a little bit about this book in the video about 12 Forgotten Books. If you haven't seen the video, please go check it out. It's pretty cool. And I've read New York by Edward Rutherford. I also have Ruska about Russia, and this one is about Paris. So how Rutherford builds his books is he takes one family. It's kind of like a family saga. So he takes one family and brings it through the years, through the history of the country. So now it's going to be France, probably history of Paris if we're being more detailed. And it should be very interesting, though. My question with Rutherford is always, is he going to be able to show the story well? Is he going to be able to go through like 500 years, 600 years with enough details? So far, he's been doing it pretty well. I really enjoyed reading New York, and I'm hoping that Paris is going to give me the same emotions, but we're going to see. Again, it's very interesting to see the development because he's taking the one family. It's very cool to see how in this one family so many changes happen, and it makes you think about your family, like, oh, what was my family 100 years ago? Oh, probably 100 years ago my relatives didn't get education. Probably I don't know, my great grandmothers had like 6 children, and I'm not planning on having that many. And how did it change our life? How did it change how we live and what we think and what we want to do in life? So it's very interesting to just look at one family through the ages and see how in this one family, where you would think same values are given from generation to generation, the same, I don't know, the way they look, maybe something they do, how that changes through time, and how this person, well, this character from 1990 can be so different from the character from 2000. So it's very interesting to look at that. And I'm very excited about the book. And the last book for January that I'm hoping to read is David Copperfield by Dickens. I have read a bunch of Dickens books, and they always give me this feeling of like cold inside, like this very not cozy feeling. That's why I'm being very careful with Dickens books. But David Copperfield, Dickens himself called his favorite child, and he loved the novel, and he supposedly put a little bit of his own experience in it. So this is the novel about a young man who is gonna go through this adventure from a poor and unhappy family into discovering himself as a successful novelist. In general, the topic of literature is very interesting for me, and in Dickens's like looking through Dickens's lens, through Dickens's perspective, it's especially interesting. So he very often focuses on this transition from poor to rich, from unhappy to happy. Like Great Expectations is probably one of the most obvious examples, and I'm very interested how he's going to do it when it comes to the writers. And I'm very excited about the book, and hopefully I'll have time. I think it's very, very much of a January reading. I prefer reading Dickens late in autumn or during winter, again, because it gives me this like cold feeling inside and slightly uncomfortable, and it feels like winter is like the best season for that. So I'm putting a lot of expectations, a lot of great expectations into the book. And I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to read all of those. And I'm very excited about David Copperfield in particular, because I'm trying to make this video about Victorian novels, and I've started research, and it says that David Copperfield is one of the most iconic Victorian novels. So it definitely has to be in the video, but I can't talk about it without reading it. So I decided that it's time to kind of get deeper into Dickens and research his books even more. So yeah, these are my plans for January, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Share your January plans in the comments, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.